Yes, start the stream, bro.
Doesn't seem to work, does it?
Yeah. Stops rising. Is it not working? It says Oh, yeah, I'm on now.
Oh, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm the NEFC and this is Blue Lines TV. And today I'm bringing our match review of our 2-1 win over Tottenham Hotspur today. And you know what, you guys, there's actually a lot of things to talk about. So before I even really express my thoughts, I need you guys to really have like an open mind and level-headed, opinion here in this stream today. There could be certain things a lot of people might not enjoy hearing. They might not be happy with what I got to say, but someone like me, I always have to be true to my opinions. And, of course, if people don't accept it, I'll just accept the backlash. But, of course, we beat Spurs 2-1. But our performances like these, should we be happy about them? I mean, think about it like this. This is the first time we used the 3-5-2. A midfield of David Luiz, Kante, and Bakayoko. I'm going to be getting behind, talking about Bakayoko later on. But a lot of people seem to believe that if you did switch to a 3-5-2, having that extra midfielder is going to give us more domination in midfield where we're going to be able to play out. But one thing I keep mentioning is that whenever you use a system that incorporates wing backs, if the wing backs can't get forwards, then everything just goes to waste because, the midfielders are too narrow and there's no passing options. Because think about it like this. You've got a three-man narrow midfield and two strikers or two forwards up front who are in narrow positions. So if an opposition team is man-marking them or behind, your options are limited. And I honestly, I was very disappointed with this performance. From my own fan perspective, when we play like this against Spurs, it really does anger me. It really does frustrate me. A Spurs team that haven't spent any money on anyone. It's been basically the same first team for nearly 3 years now. Individually, their players aren't as good as ours. Most of them aren't. That's just the reality. But of course, with Pochettino as the manager, his system and his tactics help elevate the team because, again, it focuses on their weaknesses, No, it strengthens their strengths and, their weaknesses are reduced. And, every single time we played Spurs, we played poorly against them. That's just the reality of the situation. But we always win. And why is that? Because individually, we've got better players. And in moments where we need the individual player quality to stand out, that's when it happens. When it comes from a long shot or a free kick or great set pieces or, crucial moments like that. And it gets me thinking sometimes, why doesn't Conte maybe trust the team enough? Why can't we play a bit more progressive? Because that would really get the best out of everyone then. Now, again, I'll be starting with the player review, starting with Courtois. Not much really to say, decent. Yeah, he had one shaky moment, but other than that, he was dominant in the air. Very, very dominant in the air. The guy's the best in the league. I think he's behind Neuer when it comes to commanding your books aerially. This guy, I keep making this point, if he wasn't a footballer, he'd be a basketball player because his hand control is on a different level. People get brushed off when he jumps to win balls in the air. He's looking better and better, Courtois, so I'm really excited about his development. Moving on to the back three now. The back three consisted of Christensen at the back, Aspie on the right, and Rudiger on the left. Now, starting off with Christensen, yes, I like Christensen, and he's slotted in pretty seamlessly, in David Luiz's position because Christensen has been playing this role for 2 years now for Borussia Mönchengladbach, so it's not alien for him. It was fairly simple for him to, really get into the game. And of course, he had that one little mistake, not even a nervy moment, just a mistake where he misjudged the bounce of the ball. But other than that, his positioning and how he was sweeping up the danger behind was very good. Moving on now to Rudiger. Now, some of you guys saw my match preview in the Burnley game. I did notice, and I was saying this point, that Rudiger keeps tucking inside too often and leaving that space. And it is pretty scary to think about because, again, you guys know my thoughts on the left-hand side, especially when Alonso and Cahill playing together. You know, there's always a gap that teams always exploit because Cahill is not comfortable pushing out wide and, you know, really pushing out to help defend with Alonso. So far, I know it's only 2 games by Rudiger so far. Maybe it's him playing on the left, but if Conte signed Rudiger to play him on the left, honestly, it's not looking too promising because I'm seeing the same things that Cahill's doing already in terms of not being too comfortable really pushing out wide to help support the wing back. And it's the positioning. And honestly, you guys, I'm just going to be honest. I've seen Rudiger play a lot before. And no, I didn't just see him play in the final against Chile, where a lot of people base their opinions off that from that one game. I've seen him before. He's a good player. He's not a top class one. So we have to accept as fans, he's going to have games like this. He's going to be making mistakes. Yeah, out of every 10 games, he might play 3 or 4 really well, but he'll play the rest average. And it does disappoint me because when I look at Kurt Zouma, the guy is a better defender compared to Rudiger. And it's like, why are we signing a guy where we've had a Zouma who's already not, you know, comfortable with the system, knows how to play it. Why are we signing a guy who's going to take even longer to get used to how to play? And then, I don't know, it really frustrates me. I wasn't too happy with his performance because, again, one thing I look at with defenders is their positioning and tackling. And with Rudiger, like I keep saying, sometimes he's not in the right position to sweep up the danger. He's not reading it quickly. And also his tackling, giving away stupid fouls. Moving on to Azpilicueta. Aspi, you know, he's been looking, you know, he's not been looking as strong as he was last season, especially since the start of pre-season. So I have to say a few times, you know, flinging himself into challenges and losing the ball, not winning it. Very uncharacteristic from Azpilicueta. Could it be a potential fitness thing? Who knows? But he's looking a bit shaky. And I really have to assess and really look at Azpilicueta because because again, throughout pre-season and the start of the season, I'm seeing mistakes I wasn't seeing before in his game. And if I keep seeing them, maybe his position playing on the right of defence might have to be looked at because maybe he's not as comfortable because again, Aspi was getting a ton of credit and praise when during the first part of last season, when we went on that crazy long run, he was able to push out wide a lot and effectively playing as a fullback in behind. So that was why I was really comfortable. But defending centrally is completely different. And I think that's definitely one thing I've noticed. Maybe I'm seeing this wrong and just focusing too much on Aspi, but the positioning of some of our players, that back three, the communication just isn't there. No one's really talking and getting in those right positions. And, you know, too often Spurs players were able to, you know, win headers in our books and get in behind. And I wasn't liking that. Moving on to the midfield. Now, this was the tactical ploy by Conte. Honestly, when I first saw the lineup, I really wasn't feeling optimistic about it when I saw it. Of course, Kante, honestly, thank God we signed this guy. I appreciate Kante more and more and more, honestly. He's one of those guys, no matter what type of performance the team's having, you can always rely on this guy. His application, tenacity, he just continues and he goes on. He's making a lot of good driving runs too from midfield, tenacity in a tackle. One of our best ever signings, in my opinion, and he's only going to get better. And honestly, games like this, you know, we're lucky that we've got a player like Kante in our midfield. Now, moving on to David Luiz. Now, this was quite weird. You know, I thought, okay, I was thinking, if we're playing a 3-man midfield, maybe this means that we're going to be pressing more aggressively higher up. Because Conte's thinking, right, I've got the numbers in midfield and they're physical, they're all units, and they're good defensively. But if anything, one thing that was definitely happening is that really not one of those guys was actually playing as a defensive mid. So, you know, none of them were playing behind the other 2 midfielders. So this meant that Ali and Eriksen were constantly finding space in between defense and midfield all the time. Now, of course, I remember Neville was making a point saying that Luiz should be, you know, he should be spotting that and closing that space down. But again, the guy's a defender. He's not a midfield player. And if anything, a lot of the players did look quite confused in terms of what they had to do in this game. Again, Luiz had some good moments, but a lot of times he was giving the ball away, but then not because he was bad, but it's because of how easy we are to get pressed down and closed down. It's way too easy. And again, when the wing backs aren't able to get forward and provide that width, then that's it. You're basically parking the bus the whole game. Moving on to Bakayoko now. Now, I've got my opinions on him. Honestly, his debut wasn't very good at all. Just being completely honest. One thing I didn't like was the constant fouls, constant fouls, and it was his stupid foul that gave Spurs that equaliser. And again, of course, people are going to talk it down to fitness. That does play a bit of a part because, of course, he hasn't played too many matches. At the same time, too, playing in a three-man midfield, this is the first time we've ever seen it, so there's definitely going to be causes for confusion. So I'm going to give him a few more games to really see what Conte does. Is Conte going to continue down maybe with a three in midfield? Or was this just a one-off because of, not having Hazard in the team and he decided this was the best choice for the game against Spurs? Only time will tell, but if anything, some of the basic things I'd expect from Bakayoko, I wasn't seeing in this game. And one thing again is the fouls. And why does that really annoy me? Because with Spurs, they're amazing aerially and from set pieces. You've got Christian Eriksen. The guy is probably the best crosser in the world. The balls he puts in the danger zones every single time. He's putting the same dangerous ball in every single time. And that's why Spurs are so dominant aerially. And it's like, if you're giving away fouls all the time, you're putting more pressure on us, especially when we're not the best at defending from set pieces. And also, sometimes we can be susceptible aerially. So it's just like, it wasn't helping the team at all doing that. And if anything, I didn't understand why Conte felt the need that maybe playing a three-man midfield was suited. If anything, I think we should have continued with Luiz and Kante. Had Bakayoko come on for the last 20 minutes or something, that would have been a much more astute move. And maybe, it wouldn't have been too much pressure on Bakayoko. And maybe, it would have been easier for him to maybe get into the game and grow into it. But I wasn't happy with his performance. And I'm not sure how Conte wants to use him. Now, at first, during the game, I thought that Bakayoko and, he'd be playing the more box-to-box role. But it seemed to be alternating between all three of our midfielders. So I think because, again, it's the first time playing it, there was a lot of confusion in that midfield. And I think really you'd have to have a Fabregas to really complement things. But at the same time, even if Fabregas was playing, if the wing-backs can't get forward, there's no passing options and the moves just break down. And it constantly kept happening. Now, moving on now to Willian and Morata. Now, with Willian, I can't be too harsh on the guy. He did what he could. He didn't have proper support at all, really. Most times he was collecting the ball. He had to face off against three opponents. It wasn't the best, most complimentary use of him. And again, it really frustrated me. It just doesn't work like that. There was just no cohesion, really, at all in our attacking play. Morata, decent. But there were two moments I wasn't happy with. There was that one moment when he decided to take a shot instead of, Willian was free. One simple pass, 2-0 up, game's over. We've won. And then, we can, that's it. The pressure's gone out the game then. Again, with Morata, even though he's a good player and he's going to improve playing for us now that he's going to have the opportunity to be playing week in, week out. One thing I was saying in my player review on him a few weeks ago is that he keeps his head down a lot. And this is one criticism that Madrid fans would give of him. There's that his head's always down. He doesn't see the play around him. And that was one of the frustrations that Madrid fans had. And there were a few examples today in this game where, he should have made that right pass, but he'll grow into it. And it is kind of faking away because he'll be playing as part of a front three and not a front two. I mean, you've got Hazard, beside you and Pedro beside you. This stuff becomes easier. So, again, I'm not saying, he's shit, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing like that at all. Obviously, I need to give reasons for why his performance was just okay. But also, I need to give the bigger, grander picture of what his future is going to be like playing for us. So, very optimistic. Of course, you see his positives. The guy is very fast. Very good at carrying the ball from deep positions, like I said before. Aerially, very good. He wasn't getting bullied. I think we got a player on our hands. Now, moving on, I can't forget the wing-backs. I wanted to leave Alonso for last. Starting with Victor Moses. You guys, after seeing games like this, please, I can't accept anyone saying Moses is a weak link or isn't good enough or this or that. Because, again, to me, he's kind of like a Kante. Constantly giving good performances every game. You can rely on him. You can rely on him to do his job properly and stick to it. Yeah, a couple of times if a cross don't go in that, yeah, that's fine. It's not as if we're a crossing team anyway. But his application, defensive attitude, positioning. The guy's getting better and better. Look at Danny Rose. Danny Rose said it took him 3 years to become a top class left back, left wing back. And look at him now, one of the best in Europe. Moses is going to have that evolution soon. But by the end of the season, if he's constantly playing, we've got a special player on our hands. And I think, this is why when players get game time and given room to develop, they can grow. And this is the benefits you get. Now, moving on to Alonso. Good performance today by Alonso. What a free kick. What an amazing free. That was the perfect free kick. The keeper, you can't defend against that. Right in the top corner. You know why it was perfect? Because Lloris could see it the whole time. It's not like it was a deflection or he saw it last minute. Perfect top right corner. Brilliant performance. And also his defensive application was good too. Very solid. Stuck at his task. I didn't remember too many mistakes from him at all in his game, really. And if anything, Spurs didn't have too much joy down that right-hand side. A lot of their play was mostly focused on the left-hand side with Ali and players like that. And I just think that, especially that winner right at the end too. Let's be serious, Lloris, awful goalkeeping. But again, Alonso at that special left foot again. Who would have thought, honestly, who would have thought that he was going to get 2 goals and win the game for us? This is what I mean. Now, going back to my point about our performances like this acceptable? And I'm sorry, if we're Chelsea and we're parking the bus this deep against a team like Spurs, I know they get a lot of credit and, they're amazing, this, that. They're not as good as what pundits and people make them out to be. The reason Spurs are amazing is because of Pochettino and his system, positive, progressive football, a tenacious, high pressing style. That's why they do so well. It's because a lot of players complement the way Pochettino wants to play. Now, it gets me thinking, imagine if Conte took charge of that Spurs team, and let's say Pochettino was our manager in this game. Would Spurs be playing the same way they played against us today if Conte was their manager? No, they wouldn't. They'd be playing like how we're playing. This is what I mean. Sometimes in football, we like to think it's the players who aren't good enough. This is why managers are forced to play or adopt certain styles. It's just not the case at all. I just think that this was it was kind of risky, you guys. We've got to be serious. Think about it. It was a world-class free kick by Alonso and a mistake by Lloris right at the end. But other than that, we weren't really creating anything. Moves are getting broken down. Defending wasn't as cohesive. There was a lot of last-ditch tackles and constant fouls all the time. And again, the 4th game in a row that Spurs have been the better team, but we've won the game due to individual player quality and performances. And it can't continue. It's going to catch up against us. We're playing in the Champions League. There's going to be a lot more high-pressure games this season compared to last year. And performance, if we're going to, forget the reality and just focus on the win, yeah, that's good short-term, but long-term, it's not going to be, it's not going to be the best thing for us. And it is frustrating because it's like, I've got this vision for Chelsea. Maybe it's because I remember the Chelsea teams with Grant, Lampard, Essien, Drogba. We never used to park the bus. And even when we did defend, it wasn't defending last man ditch tackles. It was playing on the counter attack, everything controlled, and then creating chance after chance on the counter. These days, we don't have the players like that who can control games defensively and offensively. It's not the same. But it's like, we should be embracing our more attacking philosophy. We've got a lot of players who can press high and can win balls and they can play. And I just think this approach of sitting deep and playing on the counter, it just doesn't work. I mean, the wing backs, again, we've got a wing back system. The most important thing is that they're able to get forward and attack. And it's something we struggle with all the time when we play against any team with a bit of quality. The wing backs get forward less and less. The attacks become isolated, and we win the game because of player, individual quality. And this is why managers like Conte want the clubs to spend 50 million on players like this and that, because they know that, if it came down to a particular moment, they have the individual ability to make something happen. But lives would be much easier if there was a system that complemented what they did already. And sometimes I think, if we played the way Spurs did with the players we have, we'd be a much better team. You could call us Champions League contenders. With the same players we have, we don't need to sign 200 million players like a Neymar to be allowed to play good football. Because even if he did come, we'd still play the same way. This is the point I'm trying to get out there. And it's just too often, this is like my fan side coming out too. Sometimes I think, us fans, we pay the subscription for Sky, BT, all of this, go to the games, buy the tickets, travel, this and that, that and that. In a way, if we're being really cynical, we are consumers when it comes to football. And it's just like, do we really get our money's worth all the time, really? You know what I mean? If you're a team like Chelsea, you've got, amazing technical players in your team and you're playing without the ball all the time. And the emphasis is always to play without the ball in your hand and not to have any control. That's not the future I envision. I know Conte's speaking about he needs 4 years. Of course, one thing at Chelsea is that we don't give managers time to be able to do anything, which is really frustrating. But I'm thinking, is Conte really the manager we should give 4 years to? When have we ever seen a tactical decision or a substitution made that changes the course of the game and wins us a game, or he tactically outmaneuvers a top class manager? You don't see it very often. Most times we win, it's because of individual player ability all the time, and it just can't continue, in my opinion. I really wasn't happy with the performance. This defensive, low block football all the time, and then, doing nothing with the possession and losing the ball constantly. If you're Conte, you can't be happy with that too. I know he was trying to get the team to press up higher and higher, but again, once you stop the wing backs getting forward, which is very easy for any team with a remote ability to do, then it forces the whole team back. And I'm thinking, did we really have to play 3-5-2? I didn't understand. We should have continued with a 3-4-3, have more of a attacking outlet, and kept the ball and, attack down their flanks. Ben Davies isn't all that. Kieran Trippier, they're good players. Again, it's like 6 out of 10 players. We've got Willian, we've got Pedro, all these types of players playing. We've got, two of the best wing backs in the country in Alonso and Moses. We should be expecting more. Results like this, of course, I'm happy we won, but performances like this, honestly, you guys, as fans, we've got to be ambitious for our club. What kind of club do we want to be? What kind of football do you want to play? What kind of style? Because this all plays a part, because when it comes to attracting the big players, all the fans on Twitter are complaining about that we can't sign. It's because of things like this. You've got to sell why players need to sign for you. We're not Chelsea. It's not like we've got the same history as, let's say, like at United or Real Madrid, where, the name alone, no matter what the club is or what situation the club's in, is going to attract the players. It's just not like that for us. We're building that, and we'll get there in the future. It's a work in progress. But, this is this thing stopping us from really reaching this top level. And I don't know. I wasn't happy with this performance, but again, happy with the win. But you guys, I'm going to keep going on. Honestly, I know I'm sounding really negative in this stream. I can't help it. I just had to say what was on my mind. But thanks for watching the match review. Yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, of course. I want to read all your comments. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate, but it's fine. I'm a big boy. It's cool. But I want to hear what you guys got to say and what you thought of the game, and if you thought we approached it in the right way tactically. But anyway, you guys, thanks for watching the live stream. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.